So, in today's video, I wanted to do something a bit different than I normally do. I wanted to like sit down, chat, have a catch up, drink some, well, I've already drunk. This looks so bad actually. In today's video, I want to just talk about confidence. I want to talk about not caring about what people think, my personal journey with confidence and like becoming who I am in the least cringy sense of the word. I did actually try and film this video yesterday, but it was absolute shambles, so I had to restart and do it again today. So we're going to start by putting my foundation on. I thought the best place to start would sort of be like my journey with confidence, if you will. Unless you've watched some of my older videos, you probably don't know too much about my sort of like relationship with like myself and my confidence and stuff. So if we start there, I remember being quite a confident child. Like we're talking like primary school, I was quite confident, I was quite outgoing. Then when I went to secondary school, that is when I kind of became much more of a recluse, if you will. Not really a recluse actually, but like I was way less confident in myself, and I think that came through in like my general attitudes toward myself and general like being. I think when you're way less confident in yourself, you're much more like introverted. I'm still very, very much so an introvert now, but I think that kind of stemmed from then. But things like I would always look down at the ground because I was really insecure about like the way I looked. Growing up through secondary school, it was way more appearance based. I had a massive fringe as well, like throughout my whole education. I had a massive block fringe for ages, and then I had a massive side fringe to like pretty much just to cover my face. And so like throughout school, that is sort of where my confidence was at its lowest. That is when I sort of ended up developing an eating disorder in my teenage years. That's when I got very depressed and struggled with things like self-harm and stuff, and that was all because of the lack of confidence I had in myself, but also the lack of just didn't like who I was. That's the best way to describe that. I just didn't like who I was. I say that with a smile now, but it's obviously not a good thing, and I don't miss that period of my life at all. That was one of the hardest periods of my life. Before I continue, this is one of the things that you're going to be like, Helena, that's so disgusting, what the fuck are you doing? And so I have this contour stick. You can tell it's like literally, there's not much of it left, so like I like take the end of a brush and I like gouge it out, just like, what? Anyway, so obviously throughout my eating disorder and teenage years, I was extremely, extremely not confident in myself. You know, there's a lot of self-hatred that comes through with mental illness. And I spent a lot of my teenage years, like almost the entirety of my teenage years, being absolutely obsessed with my appearance and what I looked like and not liking that. But the light at the end of the tunnel was that I did recover from that period of my life and that eating disorder, and through my recovery from my eating disorder, I found much more confidence in myself and who I was. I went into recovery like the age of 17, 18. I don't know why this is becoming like a full freaking life story, but we move. In recovery from an eating disorder, you go through periods of like being so unconfident in yourself, like almost less so than you were when you had the eating disorder, but the end result of it is so much better and you get so much more confident eventually, but you just have to break down a lot of like internal barriers and internal battles in order to like find that confidence. So I would say I still wasn't overly confident once I had sort of left treatment for my eating disorder, and once I like overcame it. You can never be consistently confident. Like confidence isn't something that you have and then you just have it for the rest of your life. You're always going to be like dipping in and out. But once I sort of like overcame my eating disorder, my confidence in who I was started to grow a lot more. And although I still had many battles with my confidence in my physical appearance over the next like, well, probably my whole university. So I recovered from my eating disorder through like my final years of school. And then I went on a gap year where I went traveling, and my confidence grew so much more over my traveling period because I had to speak to people, and that was one thing that I massively struggled with in terms of my confidence, because I think you have like two types of confidence. You have like your outward confidence and you have your inward confidence almost. So you have your confidence in your appearance and you also have your confidence in like who you are, and I think people can struggle with either or even both. When I went traveling, I was able to like massively push myself out of my comfort zone, and you know, like I went traveling by myself, so like you had to speak to people, you have to mingle, and like that was a part of me that I was just like, I can't do that, I genuinely can't. Like when I first arrived to Sydney, I went to Australia first, I literally rang my mum and I was like, I can't do this. Through my uni years is when I started to feel a lot more confident in myself, but I had struggled massively with like my anxiety again. It was only really, long story short, it's only really been in the last like even year or 2 years, particularly since I've started this YouTube channel, which I feel like is such a cliche thing to say, that my confidence has fully live in a really busy street, so that's great. I feel like since I've left uni, so in the past year, that is when like I've just become way more comfortable in who I am, in both my appearance and my inward being. My neck and my body look such a different color. I'll just see, I thought I got all my stuff ready, ruining my feng shui of the video. Okay. On the nose. Too much. And then this is what I do, and you're gonna be like, Helena, what the heck are you doing? So in order to like re-bring out those freckles that I just completely covered up, is I take the contour, no, sorry, not the contour thing, this eyebrow stick, and then I take like a curvy, this is so bad, okay, ignore this. I then just like, boop. I mean, that looks really aggressive, but like I just kind of like do this over and over. That looks really weird, but where did I get to? So I kind of like, that's like a brief, I've been talking for 20 minutes. A brief rundown of like my overall journey with like confidence and stuff. And I think the key aspects to me finding confidence and like finding self-love, I guess that's kind of like the key to like confidence really. Like, well, not even self-love, just like self-acceptance and neutralizing like your body and your appearance and stuff, which I haven't mastered, don't get me wrong. Like I still get extremely insecure in certain aspects of my life, and I will get onto that. That'll come a bit later. I think one of the key things has like massively enhanced my ability to find confidence in myself and like accept myself is so cliche that it's annoying that I'm gonna say this, but like in every sense of my life where I've gained a lot of confidence, it's because I've done things which are scary at the time. So massively, my recovery from my eating disorder was absolutely terrifying at the time, and you know, something that I didn't think I was ever going to be able to do. And by doing that, I gained a lot of confidence in myself, in not only my physical appearance, because I was overcoming a lot of mental barriers I had with my physical appearance, but also mental strength. Oh God, I sound so cringe, but like I gained so much mental strength, okay, and mental growth from my recovery, in the same way that I gained a lot of confidence in my mental ability from when I went traveling, because I had to overcome talking to people, and that's something that I very much couldn't do. When I started a YouTube channel, that was pretty terrifying. These are all things that I've done like at the time, and like I can't think of worse things. Like I was at the time, I'm like, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. But because I've done them all, I have gained a lot from it. Oh my God, it's so loud outside. Sorry, I do live in South London and it is a bit, oh my God, it's a fire engine. That being said, like none of these things are easy to do, and you know, I have so much privilege in my ability to be confident. For me personally, like my therapy, for example, was key in a lot of senses of me becoming like the person I am today, and that is a very privileged thing to be able to have. Like, I'm gonna do my eyebrows. Maybe I should talk about my eyebrows while I'm doing my eyebrows. That would be quite on the nail. Firstly, this is really weird, but I have like this eyebrow gel, right? And I needed this to brush my eyebrows the other day, and I have this thing called castor oil, which I don't know if actually, I don't think it works. It may work, I don't know. It's meant to be like helping you get like grow your eyebrows, so I've been trying to use that. Anyway, long story short is this brush is now tainted with both eyebrow gel and castor oil, so when I brush my brows, they're like getting a little bit of castor oil and a bit of gel, so we brush them up. I think it's important for me to talk about my brows in a video about confidence, which as much as I try and avoid to talk about them because I don't think they're that, it's not that deep, do you know what I mean? But everyone else thinks it's deep, so, and it was deep to me at one point. So me growing out my brows is a perfect example of me overcoming like something that makes me really scared or something that makes me really uncomfortable, but a physical way, because everything else that I've spoke about has been like mental. So me going in my recovery from my eating disorder, me going traveling, me starting a YouTube channel, these are 3 mental blocks that I had to like mentally becoming confident in who I was as a person. But my eyebrows is like me becoming comfortable in who I am physically. My eyebrows were like a massive insecurity for like pretty much the whole of my life, my whole of my existence. My eyebrows have been a massive insecurity of mine. Like thinking back to like cartoons where the person with one eyebrow is painted as like this ugly human, and it's like probably didn't even realize how much those cartoons and those sketches and things really did impact me, but they meant that I was very, very insecure. And it's only since that I've like actually been like growing them out. Where the frick is my, it's only since I've like grown them out that I've truly been able to fully be more confident in who I am physically. I've sort of been able to challenge not only my thoughts but like other people's thoughts around me. At the end of the day, I look like this. Firstly, this is my face, no one else's, so no one else really needs to care about what I look like. I don't care about what other people think of me as much as I used to. I think a lot of it is because I've grown out my eyebrows. That's so deep and so intense. Oh, even when I grew out my leg hair, like if you've been around since like March last year, you know, I stopped shaving my legs then. And that was like such a huge deal at the time. I've been thinking about it a lot recently in terms of like growing out my brows, and I think the fact that we've been in lockdown has helped me massively with that, because I know that when I've seen people that I haven't seen before since I've grown out my brows, I've been a bit like, oh. And so I know for a fact that when the world opens up again, I'm going to have a slight insecurity about it again. Like I'm not like 100% like secure in like my decisions all the time, you know? Once I've been outside and stuff and like just accepted like this is who I am, then I feel like I won't feel that again. I've spoken about this before, but it's like the first time you do anything is like feels like the worst fucking thing in the world. Like when I first grew out my leg hair and I first went to see some of my friends with like a skirt, I was like, oh my god, this is the worst thing in the world. And now I could like freely do that and not or run out of space. At the end of the day, I don't really want to surround myself with people that care. A lot of people ask me, how can you not care about what other people think? And it's not something that I've achieved. It's not like it ticked the box, you know what I mean? For the most part, I have a very much like, I don't care what I don't care. But there is still the elements that feeds into like my existence sometimes, and like I think that's completely normal. Like you can always have self-doubty days. As I said earlier, confidence is like not something that you consistently have. So in days where I'm feeling less confident in myself, yes, I'm going to be more susceptible to people that say annoying things, but like I always just hold on to the fact that like it's so weird and ugly behavior to comment on the way someone looks. If someone's looks impact you so much, then it is just such a you problem. Like why does it matter to you what other people look like? It's really weird. It's like bullying as a concept. It doesn't make any sense. Like there's no like quick fix. There's no like this is how you don't care about other people's opinions, and I think that's what a lot of people look for, and that's what I definitely look for. And if I Google things like that, like I'm looking for like a how-to, like how do I not care about what other people think? And I don't think it's that easy like at all. I think it comes with a lot of horrible times of like caring about what people think, and like it comes with a lot of self-doubt when you're doing things that spark a reaction in people. Like there's so much self-doubt that comes with it, but you kind of just have to like ride it out, focus on like the fact that you actually want to live your own life, as morbid as it is. Like when I pass away, or like even when I get to the end of my life, like I'm not gonna firstly remember when people said shitty things to me, and I'm not gonna have the people in my life that said those shitty things to me. So like why should I listen to them? Do you know what I mean? Oh, by the way, I'm now putting this thing that I just used to put my freckles. I literally just like do this. I take the same brush, because I don't have many brushes that I just did my eyebrows with, and I kind of like yeet it up, blend it out a little bit, and then like tap it a little bit so it's like a little bit more faded. I probably will look back at this video in a couple of years and be like, oh Helena, cringe, like you had no idea what you were talking about. But like at this point in my life, I feel like I know what I'm talking about, but like there's always room to like grow and like become more you than you have been. Like, but I think we can all get a little bit stuck in like not knowing who we are, and therefore accepting who you are is even harder. But like I think a lot of it comes down to like, yeah, challenging your thoughts. I'll back that forever, really, that you need to overcome things in order to like feel a completely different, not a completely different way about things, but like I think you need to challenge everything. Just life. It's uncomfortable to change how you are and who you are, and in some ways it's easier to not change who you are, or not find out who you are, because it's comfortable. So this is what we're looking like. I had a structure to the idea of this video, and now it's just gone all out. But I feel like I want to go quickly back to like when I was talking about my insecurities and like overcoming insecurities and stuff, because something that's really been interesting to me is that I thought that I was really confident in who I was and like what I looked like, until people started saying specific words that made me realize that, oh, that makes me feel uncomfortable. And I think that's a lot of internalized issues. For example, I used to just call my eyebrows a brow, or like brows, even though it's quite clearly a monobrow, and it always has been. But because I've like grown up with this internalized hatred and like thought that they were really horrible and bad because of the way that I've been taught, the idea of the word monobrow being attached to my name is like really uncomfortable for me. And so like I'm only just now, like I'm talking like in the past like couple months, being able to be more comfortable calling it what it is, which is a big old monobrow. And it's the same with acne. I personally have never struggled with acne per se on my face, but I have struggled with it on my back. But I've never called it acne, you know, I've never called it that. I've just said, oh, I have struggled with spots on my back. And it's never something that I've explicitly said. Since I posted a picture of it, I'll put it up here, a lot of people were messaging me or commenting about back acne, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, That's not something I have, and that's an internalized issue. Like, I hope that comes across that I actually don't have all the answers to anything that I'm talking about in this video. This is just like, that's just my own thought process, and that's something that I need to deal with. And there's also an element of like, you know, people struggle with things way worse, and I didn't want to like undermine other people's struggles. Once I've started like calling things as they are, I feel like I can accept them more than it is like me just like dancing around the fact that I've got a monobrow and back acne. Like, just say it how it is, do you know what I mean? It's very difficult because I think I come across as a very confident person, and I am in many ways a confident person, but I think even the most confident of people still have their issues, they still have their insecurities, as I've just said. I have physical insecurities, things that I haven't spoke about, things that I'm probably unlikely to, because they're like deep-rooted insecurities that I obviously still have and I deal with like on a daily basis, even though I can accept myself. I can accept who I am, but I still struggle with certain aspects of me, and there's still long-term ongoing things that I need to personally deal with. I think a lot of it comes down to like me acknowledging my self-worth, and this is where it gets tricky. Because from where I'm quite an anxious person, I would describe myself as having sort of like two thought processes, one being a very rational mindset and one being quite an irrational mindset. And so though I outwardly am a very confident person and I rationally know my self-worth and I rationally know that I'm confident, there are still parts of me that aren't confident in my self-worth. And, you know, more recently, as I've been sort of like talking with my therapist a little bit more, I've realised that, you know, there's still parts of me that do struggle with believing I'm worthy of certain things. So I deal with a lot of like, I don't want to say imposter syndrome, but you know, there's days where I look at like, oh, this is gonna sound really beggy, but it's not really to be, but there are days when I look at like what I do on social media and stuff, and I don't feel like I deserve that. And I'm not meaning to say this to be like, oh, Helena, like, blah. It's just like generally like how I feel, and I think it's important for you to know that, so you don't think that I'm just like really confident in everything I do, and I'm so acknowledging of my self-worth. The rational side of me is like, you deserve the right things, but then the irrational part of me, which is the part that's been like, has had this really sad and like quite traumatic aspects of life that has led me to believe this, and that feeds into like relationships. I don't know, I just did a freaking whoa, but that feeds into like relationships and stuff. And if you followed me for a while, you know that I've been single for like 2.5 years. A lot of my confidence issues comes from my past relationships. The issue going forward in terms of my self-worth is like, although I know that I'm worthy of a good relationship and like social media and stuff, like I'm worthy of it all, but like because I've been not necessarily given that in the past, I don't know, it's just really cringe to say, because my relationships have not been the best and like I've been cheated on by my exes. That makes me then question my self-worth, even though my rational side is like, Helena, that's not you problem, but like I would be lying if I said that I was 100% confident in my ability to like be in a relationship or to have a social media platform, or like these things that like my rational side is like, yes you can, like all of these things you can do, but like there is obviously still a massive part of me that like questions that a lot. Still confident in myself, I'm still happy in myself, but I still have insecurities, I still have bad days, and I still have things that I need to work on. By the way, I'm just putting my mascara on if you couldn't tell. I don't really know if my point has come across in any of this, like these, I don't know why I said it like that. I don't know, I feel like I've done so much changing in the past 23 years, particularly in the last 2 years, as I said earlier, like, oh my god, I just got that everywhere. I've done so much changing since the age of even 22. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I'm this beacon of confidence and happiness all the time, when in reality, you know, I'm not. And like, I don't think it's healthy to view anyone online like they have their shit together all the time. And so I think it's really important to know that I don't have my shit together all the time, like if not a lot of the time I do. I feel like I've grown a lot on social media as well, which I think is really important, but I think I've grown in a way of like acceptance, rather than like, you see a lot of people that like grow up, I'm not saying I've grown up on social media, I've just had 2 years, but like see a lot of people that grow up on social media that like conform to like the glow up culture kind of thing. Not that there's anything wrong with like doing that. If we go to talk about like glow up culture and stuff, a lot of it involves things like plucking your eyebrows or like shaving your legs or like doing all these things, which is completely fine to do. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing things that make you feel good, and a lot of people, shaving their legs makes them feel good, plucking their brows make them do a fake tan makes them feel like, I mean, oh my god, I just realised what? And a lot of those things make a lot of people feel good throughout different points of their life, like me included. Like I probably will pluck my eyebrows one day. We'll see. I probably will shave my legs one day. We'll just see. But I think the overall glow up per se that I've had has been so mental. like mental glow up, I mean. But in turn has been its own physical glow up in a sense, but it's sort of like different to most people's glow up, I guess, because I've sort of like done the opposite to what glow up videos entail. Like I'm thinking like TikTok ones. I saw a TikTok video the other day that was like this girl who'd like drawn on a monobrow and then like had some glasses on and like drew on spots, and then like the end was like this like very socially desirable beautiful person, and I was just like, oh, that makes me feel a bit icky, the fact that you've drawn on these things that like a lot of people can't help that they have, you know. Like I was born with this monobrow, I'm gonna vibe with it until I don't vibe with it anymore, and I might not vibe with it for long. Oh my god, I forgot about my coffee. I don't know, glow up culture as a whole, I could do a whole video on glow up culture, to be honest. When people make me think that, oh, it's because she's not taking care of herself. Oh my god, the amount of comments that I've had that have been like, oh, she doesn't like look after herself. Because believe you me, I can do all the skincare in the frickin' world and I can still get hormonal spots and will still have my brows looking like this. Like, this took a turn, this video. I don't really know if we got anywhere. But that is my face. I saw a quote once, and if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I vibe all the time. Ma'am. Oh, the quote was to dance when you, to not dance when you're healthy is the worst thing you could do. That's just not it. But that was the end of the video. I hope that it's been somewhat useful, or not even useful, maybe it was interesting. I don't know, maybe it was just vibey. Maybe I'll do another one. Maybe I can talk about glow ups in another video. Let me know if you want me to do more of these sit down types of videos, because I do enjoy them. See you next one. Bye.